End behavior, by definition, means the trends in the y values of a function as the x values approach positive and negative infinity. All this means is to look at what's going on with the graph as x approaches the far right, positive infinity, and the far left, negative infinity. Under the graphic example on the right, the end behavior is read: the function of x approaches infinity as x approaches infinity. Now remember, the f of x, or function of x, is a fancy way to say y. And the arrow just means approaches. And that sideways 8, infinity, is understood to be positive, unless it's noted as negative infinity. But you can write it positive if you want. But always write the negative if you mean negative. Let's start with some easy graphs from Algebra 1. This is a linear graph, and we're going to look at what's going on to the far right with f of x. So, to the far right, we see that f of x approaches positive infinity as x approaches positive infinity. I didn't have to put the plus, but I can. What's going on to the far left? Well, f of x approaches negative infinity as x approaches negative infinity. Let's try another one. Let's go to the linear, but it's a decreasing or negative sloping line, another linear graph. This linear graph, we see f of x to the far right is approaching negative infinity as x approaches positive infinity. Now let's look to the far left. To the far left, we see f of x approaches positive infinity as x approaches negative infinity. Now let's try the parabola. Whoa, I didn't mean to do those lines. So let's try the parabola. Let me move it around. On the parabola, we see to the far right, f of x approaches positive infinity as x approaches positive infinity. And to the far left, we see f of x approaches positive infinity as x approaches negative infinity. I hope you're getting the hang of it. So on this last graph, it's more like what we would see in pre-cal. We see a function that to the far right, f of x approaches positive infinity as x approaches positive infinity. And to the far left, we see f of x approaches positive infinity as x approaches, what is x doing? It's on the left, so that's negative infinity. So now I want you to complete your assignment on end behavior. Good luck, and if you have any questions, come ask.